Hi there, I'm Nico Gritsiotis, and you're watching The Direct Line powered by 10Bet. Coming up on this week's show, we speak to a very, very interesting man. His name is David Saffy, and he's been around horse racing as long as I've been alive, probably. And he'll be chatting to us about his invention, the great website Form Grids, which sorts you out who the men are from the boys, so as to speak in horse racing terms. But we'll ask him how it came about and how it's going now. Later on the show, we'll go to our competition. Unfortunately, Marina Meyer, who appeared on last week's show up against me, did not tip as many winners as me. I tipped one winner and she tipped 0 out of 3, and therefore 2,500 Rand is carried over to this week's show. Who will be the winning contestant? David Saffy and I will find that out as he does the draw for me a bit later on, and which meeting we'll be tipping on this weekend. Finally, in Nico's notebook, we'll have a look back at the Guineas Day here in Johannesburg. What happened after the Guineas was that the handicapper rated the race, and unfortunately, trainer Matthew de Kock got a bee in his bonnet, said my horse Split the Eights that won the race is not the rating that it should be, and appealed against its rating. And we've got some interesting news on that coming through from the NHA in the last couple of days. That's all coming up on The Direct Line, powered by 10Bet. Stay with us. Well, a number of episodes ago, we spoke about studying form, and I was asked how best to study form. And I said, well, I obviously use the computer form as my form guide. But in the mid-late 90s, I was introduced to a man by the name of David Saffy, who just shortly after that started something called Form Grids. And I wanted to introduce you to him right now. David Saffy is an old pal of mine. It's been many years since we last met, and it's great to see that you're still in fighting form and you're still firing on all cylinders, David.
Yes, Nico. Unfortunately, I'm not that involved in racing as such anymore. I've got a minor function, and of course, I keep Form Grids running, but I work in another industry, and I've still got my racing on the side. You know, we always follow no matter what, and especially with like big horses like One Stripe, they go overseas. And it's interesting to follow and see what's happening and keep abreast of things. I obviously try and go to the Summer Cup, the July, wherever I can manage. But yeah, my life has changed from where I was 24/7 in racing to now maybe 24 minutes a day in racing.
Well, you've got such a colourful backstory, because when I met you, and I referred to it in my opening, was mid-90s. I come up here and I get asked as one of my first interviews ever to interview you, mainly because it's the intrigue about this group of guys led by yourself that have been winning and non-stop winning money from the bookmakers, because you're studying form and you are making money out of doing it, and large bets, might I add. Now, that's going back to the mid-90s. You'd been doing that for a while, though. I mean, how did this all work?
Nico, yeah, you know, I had a lot of involvement in racing up to then. I'd been to the USA for a year. I worked for the great trainer Charlie Whittingham, amongst other trainers, Glenn Wismer in Florida. But I worked for Whittingham when I was in California. I wanted to race ride as a jockey. I got 2 major injuries. One was a cracked knee and one was 3 missing teeth, 2 days apart. So the teeth went on the one day and the knee went on the other day. But I continued there for quite a while, and, you know, I noticed that the Americans race slightly different to the South Africans. They were like, sectionals were everything to them time, and they'd go the early sections quicker than the later sections, etc., etc. But I noticed they graded the track after each race with a tractor, and it's mostly on dirt. And slowly, I took the South African experience. You know, we had Newmarket, which is like a long straight. We had Turffontein also. We had Germiston tight course. We had Bloemfontein tight course, Vaal. So various different courses, yeah, gravel, tight, you know, suits different horses. But I just had to put two and two together on how this whole thing works. And eventually I could see that instead of now just sort of having a feeling for a horse or following betting or looking at certain things, I could put the bigger puzzle together. So it was, it didn't help you back 4 winners on a day if you don't know why they should have won. You backed them because you fancied them or somebody gave you a tip. So I always wanted to know why. Why has that horse won that race? And what are the main factors? And of course, draw, go in. There's a whole lot of different sub-factors. But there are also main factors. And once I started getting onto that, it led me to there, and then just got deeper and deeper into the game. And eventually I understood what racing is all about. And of course, you got Phil Bull, who came up with the weight for age scale.
I think he was time form, wasn't he?
Eventually time form. And, following that and following other things, I found that you could be pretty accurate in assessing the results of a race, or the would-be result. Because remember, you're predicting. They jump out of the gates, they go, a horse gets crossed, he checks, he loses 2-3 lengths, he then tries to make his run, he gets interfered with again, he finishes 5th, and he should have won. So were you wrong in your assessment of the race, or was there just bad luck in running, or the horse had an off day? Because sometimes they run a couple of lengths below form, once in a while they can run above form. So it works both ways. And I was doing what is form grids now, manually. So everything was being...
So this is worked out, basically, going on the results of a race and finding out, coming out of a race, what are those horses doing in their next run?
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, so that's also a factor. It's not everything.
Yeah.
So you've got to take your overall racing knowledge and understanding, coupled with the form lines going in and coming out of races, especially coming out of races. But that's not set in cement, as they say. It just gives you an indication. So you still got to use that to get your understanding of where you are in the race, but then you still got to use other knowledge to make the 1 times 3 to 3 and the 2 times 3 to 6, etc.
It doesn't actually tip you winners. So people can't go to form grids and get their tips from there.
No, it doesn't
what
tip
this
at
does
all.
is a tool, as you quite rightly say, it's a tool that assists you in finding the winners. And I must admit, and I'll openly admit it, since day one it launched, I've been using it and I've found a lot of winners with it, as have a lot of other people. You and I did a show in the early 2000s, I think it was, in form with form grids, where V. Mudley, who is at that stage, now he's, as we know, he's in charge of the NHA, but at that stage, he was a handicapper, one of the chief handicappers, saying this is such a useful tool that no one can live without it. He was very complimentary of it. And many people have been. But it's a labor of love, isn't it, for you guys? You and your programmers and so forth. You've been doing it for many years now. And, why haven't you told people to subscribe? I mean, I would pay for it.
Nico, firstly, let's just touch on the handicapping. Handicappers, which are race goers, because as a race goer, you automatically have to become a handicapper to understand where your horse, even a trainer, where your horse should fit into a race. You've got to advise your owners. The jockeys' agents need to know which rides. So Form Grids caters for everybody, from the breeder right through to the punter. Owners,
jockeys use it.
Jockeys, agents, everybody uses Form Grids because it spreads everything out in front of you in a very easy to use manner. And as far as handicapping goes, and with V would have, and he did understand the value. So have most people, most connected people in racing, they really appreciate Form Grids because it's like putting a light on in the game. You know, you had computer form, which is a great tool. I still use computer form if I look at a race where I can. And we got the sectionals now in form grids as well. So you can go to any horse and see his 800, 400 finish.
Oh, that's been provided.
Yeah, we got that as well.
Recently, yeah.
But form grids is a tool that just puts the light on, because you can look up anything at any time, anywhere, and we're fortunate enough that Race Coast and For Racing allow us to use the videos. So, in a sense, your race goer, professional, whatever, is fully equipped on form grids. You get there, it's got everything you need, the breeding.
You could spend hours on it. Hours.
Yeah.
But I just want to go back a step.
Yeah.
Because I want to go back to our first meeting. You were making a lot of money. You were winning a lot of money by betting.
Yes.
And the reason you were doing that was because of this. Ultimately, which you've now put down on a website and people are actively using it, was there in manual form, as you said. And you were using that intelligence to make money, and big money.
Like I said, you know, once I've understood of how to find a winner, now all I had to do was just do the homework and wait for the right race, the right horses, the right criteria as such. And, you know, my strategy was 5-1 and above. Because when you put in that kind of money on, you know, in those days there were 13 bookmakers in Bruma. They were strong bookmakers. So,
What sort of stake were you talking about?
Well, every time we left there, we left in those days with over 2 million in cash. And it was safe, believe it or not. You could still collect your cash in front of 300 people.
But the bookies feared you.
Well, we put them under tremendous pressure because our information didn't come from a trainer or a jockey. And that ultimately led to not my downfall, but, you know, that Roy Curling was the top jockey at the time, you know, Uncle Roy, as everybody knew him. And one day he came to me and he said, Dave, you have to stop punting. But by then we had won a lot of money. We had pulled off so many betting coups.
Yeah, I want to pick up on that because it's not only like it's not only like here in South Africa. Coups are pulled off right around the racing world. I mean, we know the great Barney Curley, who pulled off many coups in the UK against bookers, won millions and millions of pounds with a different method, albeit a different method, because he also was inside. He was training the horses, and he'd buy horses and leave them off the track for 2-3 years and bring them back and manage to stage a coup to run on the same day. But coups aren't only, they're not only pulled off here. The art of punting is pulling off a betting coup. The best art of punting is pulling off a betting coup.
So now, as I was going to say, with Roy said to me, you have to stop punting. And I said, but why, Roy? He said, because you're upsetting a lot of people. I said, but how? Then he explained to me, he said, the trainer and the owner go to the course the horse is running. The trainer tells the owner, come, let's go have lunch. We're not having a bet today. Let's just go enjoy the day. And the trainer genuinely doesn't think the horse can win in that field for whatever reason. That's why on the inside you can gauge on your horse's work and whatever, but I was doing it purely from a form point of view, no information.
Calculated gambling.
Yes, because my rule number 1 to rule number 10 was the same. Block your ears.
Yeah.
First thing, don't listen to nobody. Do the homework, find the right horse in the race. Then, like I say, the owner and the trainer are at lunch. Now suddenly they hear their horse shortening from 5-1 into 9-2. And in those days, to shorten a point and half a point took money. It wasn't 10 rand on a horse and your horse shortened. So they eat, and the next thing they hear, 9-2 into 4-1, 4-1 into 7-2. Because remember, I only got on after the canter down, those last few minutes before they jump.
It's the best time to bet on horses, isn't it? The right at the end.
Yes. And with the volume of money I was putting on, those horses shortened. We shortened them right in from 5 or 6-1 to 15-10, sometimes 12-10. So much so that a lot of the times after the race, when the horses already won, the bookies would line up at my table in a queue and knock off hundreds of thousands off those tickets. They used to say, "Oh, Dave, we'll aid you 5-1 or 4-1. We had to take back at 15-10. Please help me." And then I used to say to the guys, Frank, Mike, get the guys tickets. And then he changed it from 200 to 40 to 120 to 40. So they'd knock off 60 here, 80 there, 40 there. Then the next bookmaker, then the next bookmaker. And people said to me, "Are you mad? How can you let the bookies get away with it?" And I said, "Well, who else are we going to bet with? We can't stick them totally out because then
there's no one to bet with.
Where do we get on?"
Yeah.
So they accommodated us for as long as they could until eventually they had to give me IOUs and PDs. And that is why you interviewed me at the Open to Question. And the question was, are you fixing horse racing? Because the whole industry believed I was fixing. Because how can you be so accurate?
But yours was primarily only dealing with results of previous races and finding out where the horses fitted in.
Yes.
And if the bookmakers priced up incorrectly, you would take advantage of that.
There you go.
Now everyone can do that nowadays, mainly because you've got not only computer form, but you've got form grids.
But that's why I kept form grids free, is because I want to give the racing people the benefit of this beautiful tool. That's why I put it on the internet. It was too beautiful and too powerful to just keep for myself. This needed to be out there because it just helps.
Well, strangely enough, when I first started commentating, and that is the late 80s, I tried to devise a system very, very similar to what you're talking about in Zimbabwe, where I lived at the time. And it was very difficult to do manually. So I know exactly what you went through, because you have to go through everything. You have got to go back through Stipes reports as well and see if anything happened on the day to those horses. Here, it's at pushes of buttons, and people will be able to see when we look at this together just now exactly how it all works. But what are the main interesting parts of form grids that you would tell people to counter? We've talked about the form lines, about how many winners come out of the form lines, but that's not all you do. I mean, for example, I look at a lot of collateral form. So horse A beats horse B, and horse A beats horse C, but B and C have never run. Therefore, I'm able to put it all together, but using your tool to help me put that together and to add up A and B.
Yes, well, my tool spreads it all out, puts it in front of you. It's all there for you to see. The more you dig, the deeper you go, the more you'll find. But you've got to start off with the basic principles of what kind of a race is this? You can't just look at the horses. You've got to see it's a maiden plate, it's a graduation plate, it's a novice. Not that we have many graduations and novices, but now it's a merit-rated race. What merit-rated race is it? And of course, sometimes you get a merit-rated 107 running with 92s and 80s, and he's so far clear in the merit rating that there's your indication already. He should be the right horse. Now, all you have to do is a little bit of homework to see, can anything beat him? And that's what I normally do, a process of elimination at times. So, like you said, if A has run against C and A has run against B, but B and C have never run, you can put it together using the weights, the draws, the jockey.
And another feature which you've got on there, which we'll look at, is the LBH, is the links behind.
Well, that's what I learned from the USA, is that, we can't take times a Newmarket mile to a Gosforth Park mile.
Yeah, they're two different courses.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only go in South Africa on the different courses, is same distance, same day.
Yeah. So you're able, with all the information you get, if there are 3 races run at Turffontein over 1,000 meters on the same day, you're able now to tabulate where all those 3 races, where the horses, if they'd run in one big race, would have featured against each other.
Yes, but then you've got to take into consideration slow early pace or quick. And even when I punted, the first thing I do is I'd watch the first few races on the day. Now I can see the track running quick, the track running slow, which side of the course are they winning from. So all of that was in the back of my mind, because often we'd go to Bruma with bags full of money, with a horse in mind.
That's like a betting shop, eh?
Yeah, Bruma, the Bruma Tattersalls, 13 top big bookmakers there. I'd have the money, I'd have everything there. The boys were there, my investor, whoever was with me, would be there. And right near the end, for whatever reason, I'd say, boys, let's call it off today. Or let's go. Because watching the earlier races would help me make up my mind. Track running fast, I'm back in a front runner, let's go. Track running fast, my horses have come from behind horse. The lead horses are probably going to stay on. The track's quick. Call it off today. So it's not just go in. It was extremely well thought out, professional.
It's such a great tool. The other thing that you can use on there, which I use a hell of a lot, is whether the trainers or jockeys are in form. When was their last winner? Are they going through a bad patch of form? You just click on the trainer's name.
Yes.
And it'll tell you what their last 30 runners or what their last 100 runners have done and how they've done. It's an amazing tool.
Yes.
But I want to know what the future holds for this now. Because I know that you've looked at other international races, the likes of Hong Kong, the likes of America, UK, Australia. You're able to do this for anywhere if you get the info.
Before we had 13 countries on form grids, but each was on their own platform.
Right.
Now, we want one central database of form that a horse going from here to the USA, to UK, to Hong Kong, all the form follows it. And just to give you an example, when I went with Variety Club, ran in Hong Kong, I went to Hong Kong. They had the Asian Racing Conference there. And I knew Variety Club could not lose that race. In fact, the Russian TV, that famous boxer, I think it was Triple G, he was there at the course, and the Russian film crew were filming him. And before the race, because we were standing upstairs by the parade ring together there, looking down, and I gave him a ticket, a bet on Variety Club, and I said to him, this horse can't lose. It was, I think, drawn 8 or 6 or something. I said, if it was drawn 3, you can put your house on it. But from where it's drawn, it'll still win. But, here's a ticket. You can collect it after the race. And I knew the horse, in my own way, couldn't lose. It was a certainty in that field at that time. In fact, I predicted the winner and the second horse. I forget the name. But that's how they ran. And those New Zealand breeders that were there, and a couple of breeders, when Variety Club won, they said, wow, what a super horse. And it was a super horse. And I told them, I said, I'll bring you 3 or 4 horses from South Africa who are just as good. And they said, you're mad. Where are you going to get another horse? I said, there's a horse called Give Me the Green Light. I said, he's just as good. Because the form doesn't lie. The form is there. And that's the whole point of form grids, is to get the whole world on one system that you can follow a horse everywhere. Like Nigel Gray, who was the chief handicapper of Hong Kong racing, and he's he was the chairman of the panel of international handicappers. He came to the hotel, and I saw the guy walk in, and they were pointing. Eventually, he finished up where me and Paul were sitting, and he said, David Saffy, and I said, yes, that's me. And he said, sir, it's an honor to meet you. That's the chief handicapper of Hong Kong racing, who was head of the international panel of handicappers. And he said, I only use your site for South African racing. It's the most brilliant tool, which it is. No credit to me, because it's just the fact that it's a brilliant tool.
And you've got a brilliant team behind you too. I mean, you've got Wolf as a great software guy.
It's been me and Wolf for many years. And, sure, I don't want to tell you, the young lady by the name of Claudia and myself and my son Clifford, when we had to do America manually, UK manually, all those countries manually, every day. We used to work till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, updating. And then the next day you got to put the cards on, and you got to do the scratchings, and then you got to do the race results during the day, right through the night. I mean, we worked like you cannot believe. But I done it because, like you said, a labor of love. We love the industry. We love the racing game. I want to enhance the tool. But now, we need Hollywood's Owen and Devon 20 out of 20, not 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20. They have looked after us, they've helped us, they're supporting us. But as they say, they're not there to pay for our whole website. We've still got to...
But will you ask for subscriptions?
I don't want to do
forward?
subscription because I feel the man in the street, the punter, you know, if he can't afford that 100 or 150 a month, I know then he shouldn't be punting, but, you know, it's there. Just a few sponsors help us, put it out free to the public. We may do a subscription later on, but a very small subscription. I don't want to overdo it. I want people to have the benefit.
Tell our viewers now that are hearing it for the first time, where do they go? What is the actual website?
www.formgrids, Formgrids, formgrids.info, info.
Okay.
I mean, you remember we were hacked. We had a vicious hack
I
in,
know.
I think, 2019. Our stats were huge. We're still huge, but for that time we were huge.
Yeah.
Everything was going well. We got the hack. God knows where it came from.
And it set you back a while.
It set me back a long time. Then we had all the hassles of Pumalela and the lack of foresight, which still pertains in the industry till today. I mean, this is such a beautiful tool. Just get behind us.
Embrace it.
Throw a little bit of money into R&D, research and development. We can develop. It is the most beautiful tool there is, but we can enhance it so much. But you know what a programmer costs.
Absolutely.
And you can't find two Wolfgangs. I mean, we got a youngster now who's joined us, Matthew, and Wolf is taking him through the grades and teaching him. But remember, we're written in a very old languages, several languages. The youngsters know the new languages. Now we've got to train them in the older languages, but it works. And all we need is like a little bit of assistance from the industry as such, which I'm hoping comes soon. But we can really turn this into, and it's proudly South African.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, to have our stats were bigger than racingpost.com and bigger than the HK Jockey Club's websites, because we used to get it on, I think it was called Alexa or something. They show you comparisons. And this small little South African website was way above these other guys. Then we got hacked. Now we've built back. But all we need is a little bit of the industry saying, there's a peanut. That's all. We're not asking for huge money, just a little bit of more support. So I can get another program as well as Matthew and Wolf together as a team, and we can get all the international countries on here, and it's just great for racing. It benefits everybody. There are no losers. But it's so hard to get somebody in the industry that sees the bigger picture, that's in a position to make a difference.
Well, David Saffy, we wish you all the best in your endeavors, because I, for one, rubber stamp it all the time. I know I've found a lot of winners using it, and I'd advise you to go and watch too. Go and have a look at what Formgrids has to offer. David Saffy, thanks very much for being my guest. I want you to stay on just a little bit longer, because you're going to help me with the competition in our second segment. Welcome back to our competition segment now. Now it's a chance for someone that sent through their name and their number through to us to win a chance to go up against me in this week's competition with the prize on offer, 2,500 Rand worth of 10-bet betting vouchers. You'll have to open up a 10-bet account and then you can start playing with them. Important rules of the competition. Firstly, to enter, you'll just have to send your name and your phone number to our email address. The email address is the direct line SA, one word, at gmail.com. So that's all you have to do. Send your name and your mobile number to the direct line SA@gmail.com, and you could be chosen as the next lucky contestant to play up against me. Once you've been chosen, which David Saffy is going to help me do now to choose this week's competitor, is you've got to tip on 3 races. We'll tell you which 3 races to tip on, and you've got to beat me on the 3 races I tip on. So therefore, it's one up against the other. If you come square with me or if you tie with me, unfortunately, you lose and the money gets carried over to the next week. So there's a chance to win 3,000 Rand if the contestant this week doesn't beat me. And we'll choose the meeting. So it'll either be this weekend be Turffontein on Saturday or Hollywood Bets Kenilworth on Sunday. and you'll either get odd or even numbered races to tip on. Let's go to David Saffy, who'll help me firstly to choose this week's winning contestant. Just put your hand in that 10-bet bag and choose out one name from there.
Okay, someone's going to be happy.
Okay, and open it up and tell me if you can pronounce the name. Otherwise, I'll pronounce the name. But tell me who the winner is. And show it to the camera.
Kewan Greaves.
So, Kewan Greaves, congratulations. You are the winner of our competition this week. Kewan, congratulations to you. And we are going to be in touch with you to tell you which races you'll need to tip on. If you can just put that back in the bag, David, and pass me on the bag over here. So we'll get rid of the contestants for this week, which we'll just empty out over there, all the hundreds of entries that we've got there. Now, the next one that we're going to ask you to do is you're going to choose, David, whether we're going to be tipping on the Turffontein meeting on Saturday or the Kenilworth meeting on Sunday. So there we go.
Okay, so that will be in here, eh?
That'll be in there. You choose one of those two that are in there.
I've got one.
Tell me what you choose.
Turffontein.
Okay, so we're going back to Turffontein this coming Saturday, the 21st of February, and we're going to be tipping on there. Now, just note that on Saturday at Turffontein, there are a total of 9 races. Now, David, I've got 2 cards over here.
Yeah.
This card on my right and this card on my left. Which one are you going to choose?
One on the right.
So that's Kewan now. Kewan, you're going to tip on those races, the even-numbered races. And remember, we choose the last 6 races of the day. So your races are 4, 6, and 8. My races are 5, 7, 9. What Kewan will do is tip one horse in each race, and hopefully he tips more winners than me, and he'll walk away with 2,500 rand. That's it for the competition segment. Stay tuned. Coming up, last of all, is Nico's Notebook. Right, David, we're doing a quick walkthrough of our website here,
yes.
And I wanted so this is now Saturday's race meeting at Turffontein, and we've got racing at Turffontein. There we've got 9 races now. You've got card A, which is the one I want to use. So let's just go to any particular race and just type that in. So this is race number 4 at Turffontein on Saturday, the 21st of February. And we can see the card there. Yes. What do all these colours mean now?
Okay, so the green, here's your colour coding. When a horse previously has finished first, he's green, second, yellow, orange, third, and so on.
Right.
So these colours, I can see this horse, Poets Warrior, has won 4 out of his last 7 starts.
Right.
And we can see Kenilworth. He went from Turffontein, Kenilworth. No, is that, it's KW, eh? Then Turffontein. So he's had 4 of his last 7 runs have been wins, and he's travelled to Kenilworth and back in between. There, that black arrow shows me he was below form on that day, which I'll explain a bit later maybe. United Council, we can see his previous form where he's run 4th 3 times, he's won, he's finished 3rd, he's unplaced.
So the colour codes basically work out where they've run.
Yeah, the colour codes. But now, what you want in these boxes, you can choose any of the following. You can have the track, you can have the date, the sequence number in the races, the distance of the races, the merit rating, average merit rating, the weight difference for collateral, the position he finished, which
so you can choose what features in the boxes.
Yes, the go-in, length behind, draw, whatever you want. So I'd go percentage form line there.
Yeah.
Now I can see when he won, it looks like a 16, and a 8 or 9. My eyes are not hundreds. But that's a 50% winning form line. Yes. Then I can see straight away him and United Council ran in the same race because they flash in. Right. Poets Warrior won, United Council ran.
So that flashes means they run the same race. Yeah.
So that I can change here from flash to hide, which I find easier. Then I can see those 2 ran in the same race together that day, and that 1st and 4th. I can look here, I can see those 2 ran together that day, 3rd. So there. Now when you put your mouse here, you can see both of them are into this new race card, you see. So his next race, is race number 4, 21st of February at Turfentine. That's the jockey, that's his weight, that's his draw, that's the distance. And they're similar with that.
Okay.
So immediately I can see what they carried last time to what they carrying this time, just there alone. So I can already see for 2 point something lengths, what's the weight difference.
Go back there and just change it back to the original
Race
settings
code.
there to race card, and this one to flash. I want to just go back to, if we can,
Just one back,
to
yeah.
where we were. Okay, over here. So this is the race here, because when we were speaking on the show, we spoke about this trainer. I punched on trainer Michael Azzi,
Yeah.
and I'm able to find out what Michael Azzi. Now these are his last.
Since the season, the 1st of August.
Since the 1st of August 2025, all his season's results.
Yes.
And how he's done, with the different colours, of course,
Yes.
permeating right the way through.
Yes.
Green being the winners.
Yes.
So I can see he's hit form. He's had a number of winners. Certainly since this date here, the 23rd of December, the winners have started flowing from Michael, because we know that he's
Yes.
broken up now with his son Adam, and he's having winners. Similarly, if I go to, if I just go back there.
No, you won't go back on that. You've got to go back to the other window,
Okay.
the window just before that.
Okay, well, I just want to let's just go back to race cards here again. But then I type on race cards, and I go back to that race, and I want to type on a jockey now. So let's see, because I know at the moment Cabella's not having the best of form. Cabela Matsunyani. So it'll come up and it'll show you what I'm saying.
Yes.
He hasn't had a winner for a while now. His last winner was down here, 17th of January.
Yes.
So he's going through a bit of a lean spell, and we know that jockeys work on confidence and so forth. So I want him to have, look, he's at a lot of places, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
But he actually hasn't had a winner. That's also great, a great part of your,
Indicator, yeah.
a great indicator to where those jockeys fit
You
in
know, it
now.
doesn't mean he's going through, he's doing anything wrong.
No.
It can simply mean as well that he's not on the right horses.
Yeah.
He's on horses that are going to be placed, which I see a lot of placings that he's run.
But I want you to talk through a couple of things that you think that I should be using that I might not be even
Okay,
aware
well, I'll
of.
show you what you may not know. If you go to card B now, now you can see he was fourth, 3 lengths behind, then he was third, 2.8 lengths behind, then he finished second, 5.4. So we've got the position in running,
Yes.
which actually helps a lot for the particular day, you know?
Yes, yes.
But then again, let's say you're in a result, like let's go back to race card, let's find a more busy race. There's a Turfentine meeting, race 6. And if I'm in this race, and so let's say now I'm having a quick look here, and let's say we like this horse wins Azzi as well, Michael Azzi. We've had a quick look at him. Maybe.
Yeah.
So let's go here maybe to this run where he won.
Right.
Now, while we're here, there's the finishing position. So he beat Galaxy Queen by 2.50, and
Right.
he was 18-10, punted into even money. Then he came out on his next start and he finished second. The third horse came out to win. Galaxy Queen has not run yet. So it's a pretty nice form line with 3 seconds, a third, a fourth, and a win.
It's going along pretty well.
Yeah, it's a
should
pretty-
hold up in the maiden similar class.
Yes, yes. So now if I want to see in that race, I go here to race cards because that's a result now. I'm looking at a result.
Yes, you're looking at the results of the
Now I can go to the day it was a race card. That's the day going back when it was still a race card.
Yeah, before it ran.
Yes, before it ran. Then I can click on card B. Now we can see during the running where Windsor Grace was placed. He was 3.4, 1.6, and he won going away by 2.
So he made progress right
He made
throughout.
progress. Now I can see all the horses. I can see the second horse who was in front by 0.9. Then he was third. So he faded out to 3.2. Then if I want to go further down, I can see all the horses. I can
There's
see
Galaxy Queen there.
Galaxy Queen was 2.6, hit the front by a half a length, and then got passed by Winds of Change. Now I can go look for the third horse. This was a third horse, 2.6. So it shows Hubertus Hunt was catching Galaxy Queen, but Galaxy Queen just held on over the mile.
Okay, so what you're basically seeing is every horse, how they progress through the race, whether they moved up or whether they faded.
Yes, so you can go back to any race, any horse, and then you can see the horses who came out of that race that day, who, like we saw, there was a winner in a couple of seconds and a third. And now you can see the ones who won, were the horses coming from behind, were the horses who raced up in front. You know, it just gives you an idea of how they progressed during the race. So that's a very useful tool.
The other one I want to just quickly work on is over here. If I pinch this race here, Rifle Queen's last win, and I go to on the day, there were other races over 1160 at Turfendale. This is what I mentioned on the show, LBH. So this now tells me on this day, Rifle Queen, who won a admittedly much stronger race than a horse like Space Mission, would have beaten it had they run the same race by as many as 10.37 lengths. Granted, was carrying less. But even if you take that into account, it would have comfortably beaten the maiden on the day Space Mission. So it was superior by quite a distance.
Quite a bit. And if you look at the maiden filly on the day, because Trial Runner, 4-year-old filly, she won. And
she finished as many as 11.84 and then still won again after that.
Yes, and the second horse, Tour, which was Traditional Belief, you can see by the colour. So that's that race.
So they've all won, basically. So it's
Trial
fairly
Runner
strong.
won again. Traditional Belief won after that. And if you go into the race, you can see, you know, the first two horses, the winner won in open company and the second horse won. So it's a good indication. And but it shows how good Rifle Queen and these horses are.
They're much, much better horses.
But especially Rifle Queen. And let's see, the Bjorn Ironsides there, trained by Van
Vuuren hasn't run again.
And 2.5 kilos, the 3-year-old filly to the 4-year-old gelding.
Also ran a credible race,
It gives you an idea of what's been, what should come. There I can see that this Winds of Change was probably below form on this day. So, because Winds of Change had beaten Bjorn Ironside before. Let's just go back. It's it's always difficult with someone else's computer. So you can find a whole lot of information if you just keep looking, because below form is also a very good indicator, because the horse can't talk.
Absolutely.
But the form can show you.
To end up, I mean, here we're talking now on a Wednesday. You have already got cards for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You already got cards way in advance. I could start studying for Sunday if I wanted, using form grid shows at least 4 or 5 days in advance.
Now Borrowdale is on our one system, as you can see.
That's racing in Zimbabwe.
If a horse goes from Zim to Ya or Ya to Zim or whatever, the form will follow it. And that's how we want the international countries, so that when horses travel anywhere, the form is there. The handicapper doesn't need to suck.
And they don't have to know where this horse comes from and what its previous form is. It's all there.
It just enhances the whole racing industry.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, David. Well, it's our final segment now, and it's Nico's notebook, and we're still reflecting on the Gauteng Guineas meeting from Saturday, the 7th of February. Remember, I said I was going to come back to you this week and tell you my honest thoughts about the objection which was upheld on the day, which was lodged by the fourth horse against the third horse. That was Trust against One Eye in Vegas on the grounds of interference and taking up his running inside the final 250 meters or so. I have had a look at the various angles of the footage that was provided to me, and thanks very much to the stipendiary stewards for agreeing to provide me that footage, which shows the back angles, the side angles, and so forth. I still maintain, though, that the objection should not have been upheld and should have been overruled, principally on the fact that, one, I think there was a bit of movement from Trust earlier on in the straight, towards 1 Iron Vegas. And secondly, the winning margin of half a length. I can't categorically say in my mind that the winning distance between the two could have been avoided had there not have been that slight interference. I'm not saying there wasn't interference. There was definite interference. But I'm saying that the half a length between them, I don't think would have been overturned had it not have been for that slight interference by 1 Iron Vegas on the eventual third place runner, Trust. But having said all of that, the report came out directly after the race with regards to the merit rating. And obviously the NHA do release the ratings a couple of days after the race. And this is what happened on the 11th of February with their website. They say Split the Eights has been awarded a revised merit rating of 121, which went up from 97. So it went up a full 24 points, which equates to 12 pounds, following his victory in the Grade 2 Tab Gauteng Guineas over 1600 metres at the Turffontein Standside track on Saturday. The handicappers elected to use the horse Tin Pan Alley, who finished 6th as the line horse for assessing this race, leaving his rating unchanged on 117. In addition to the winner, several other runners received upward adjustments to their merit ratings. Grand Empire, the runner-up, was raised from 108 to 120. 1 Iron Vegas received an increase from 106 to 118. Yippee-Ki-Yay was lifted from 101 to 117. And lastly, Radio Star received an adjustment, moving from 95 to 97. Well, that triggered a reaction from trainer Matthew de Kock, part of de Kock Racing, with his dad, Mike, saying that they were going to eventually turn around and say that they wanted to review. They wanted the panel to appeal against the merit rating of the horse that they were given 121. So that panel was finalized just yesterday, and it reads as follows. An independent panel constituted in terms of clauses 20.3 and 21.3 of the NHA Constitution, and consisting of Messrs. Carl Miedemer, Justin Vermaak, and A. Supersard, was convened on the 17th of February to consider the merit rating appeal lodged by trainer Matthew de Kock against the merit rating increases relating to Split the Eights, Grand Empire, 1 Iron Vegas, and Yippee-Ki-Yay following their performances. And what has subsequently been determined was that the panel was of the opinion that the line horse which was utilized, Tin Pan Alley, was not optimal under the circumstances, and that Grand Empire and 1 Iron Vegas should have been jointly utilized as the line horses of the day. So what's happened now is that they've re-rated the horses accordingly, and the merit rating of Split the Eights now comes back down to 109 from being lifted to 121. Grand Empires and 1 Iron Vegas merit ratings have been restored to 108 and 106 respectively because they were used as the line horses, and Yippee-Ki-Yay's merit rating has been adjusted to 105 from the 117. So clearly the appeal board, consisting of 3 members, did not agree with the handicapper's original assessment of the race, and it now means that Split the Eights has come back down. But what it does mean is in the 3-year-old ratings, Trust is on 119 and is actually rated 1 point higher than Jan van Gooyen on 118. Remember that on the original ratings, a horse like Split the Eights would have been the highest rated 3-year-old in the country at 121. So quite a bit to determine there, and quite a bit going on behind the scenes of that Guineas. If it wasn't the objection, it's now the merit ratings, and I still believe that these merit ratings as they appear now aren't a true reflection of these horses' abilities. So we'll see what happens when the 3-year-olds continue their racing career in the next few months. That wraps up our show for this week. The Direct Line powered by 10Bet. Thanks very much to my special guest, David Saffy from Form Grids. And let's hope that we have a great weekend, and all the best to our winner, Kewan Greaves, coming up against me at the Turffontein meeting on Saturday. Catch you next week. Bye-bye.